Morning. Done a little rearranging here in the garage. I got I'm gonna crack that window. I'm gonna get this old fan going just a little low, just to move air, and I put a little bit of filtration on there just to capture what little tiny bit of overspray there'll be. Got this ready to go. I did my small repair with epoxy. That's as good as it's gonna get. And the nice thing about waterborne base, it's not going to make any of those edges react. It's pretty tame on edges like that, so I'm pretty confident that'll be fine. I'm going to wipe this down a couple more times. I'm going to use this stuff. Picked up some towels. Got my gun set up. I made a little stand for it out of a box. I switched it over to a 1-3 tip. I'm going to try that with the waterborne. You'll cleaned my area up a little bit. You want a nice clean area. I'm going to crank up my ceiling lights to get this going. It's all up top, so years past, if I've done a fender or something, I've used a little light on the side there. And let's see, it's pretty cool out today. It's only 60, high humidity, of course. And so I've got my base coat ready to roll. I forgot my fine filters, so I'm going to double up some of these cheaper strainers, and I'm also going to use one of these that go with this cup. That mounts in the base there. So yeah, the 1-3 tip. This is the 1-5 that I took off, along with the cap, the tip, and the needle. The thing with these is they have 4 little holes in the center. It's the most important thing, to make sure those are perfectly free and clean on this particular model. So I guess I'm going to do a couple final wipes and get going on this. Oh yeah, one other thing. I'm not going to be working this too hard, but I've got my pressure where I want it here, and this is just enough to keep up with what I'm trying to do, this older compressor here. Originally all I've done is run just an air hose. I've run it up, around, down into a little dryer here, and let's just see if there's anything in here. Yep, we had some water in there, not much. As long as I can keep the water out of my clear coat, I'll be good. A little spray away cleaner. And a tack cloth after. Got the garage gang shirt on. You guys are with me on this. Alright, that's the first coat. It was very light. That told me right off the bat if I was going to have any kind of contamination problems or anything. There was just a couple little fibers or something that landed. When it dried, they blew right off because I put it on so thin. But it's going to take quite a few coats if I keep putting it on that thin. But I think considering the humidity today, that might be my way to go. It dried off pretty good with that heat gun. Just got to keep it, not get it too close because it's kind of hot. But from a distance, it dried it off nice. The smell in here is not bad at all. I think if I had mixed a solvent base coat with today's humidity in here with a fast reducer, it probably would have blushed on me like crazy. But put it on nice and thin. I think that'll be the key today. It's going to take a while, but I think I've learned this lid needs a little time. I also rolled the edge in past where you see it to try and protect from any further debris that may let go off of that was stuck to the stuff that the window stuck to there. Can't even think of what it's called at the moment. But I'm going to put a few more coats down. Butyl, that's what it is. Here we go. Here's the second coat. Really looks like it's just loaded with trash and everything else. But this paint does tend to have that look. When you get it dried out, it looks a lot better. But I can see a little piece of fiber, or hair or something there. I'm gonna have to get that. That'll probably have to be sanded out. But it does look much better when it settles down. You get all the water out. But there's definitely some stuff blowing into it. So I'm gonna get it dry and I'm going to tack it off real good. See how it looks. The little fan is definitely pulling a touch of overspray through, you can tell. I used to have a cutout in the wall, but I've since repatched it, and I have a big, pretty powerful fan up there. And as you can see, I did a red truck cab here years ago. It's been there ever since. But I've repatched that up. That's just too much for in here. Only small jobs once in a while. Here's coat number 2. Most of that trash looking stuff just kind of settled in. It's not that bad. I did go over it with a tack cloth. And you can still see tons of sand scratches everywhere. A lot of that will go away as I get to about a 4th coat. But I definitely prefer on any kind of a metallic with this material to put a nice shot of sealer down. One quick coat of sealer, it eliminates all of that, and you have no issues with any chance of seeing your metallic settle in the sand scratch lines or anything like that. Black, it's really not an issue. You don't see that when you clear it. You'd see that, but a couple more coats, I'll be fine. And what else? Yeah, normally you wouldn't dry this with something like that with a solvent base coat, because just as a clear, there's a chance you could skin off the top, trapping solvents in, and just have problems down the road with it dying out. But that's one thing with the waterborne. It's designed to be dried like that with air, and it really helps speed up the process. Oh, there's another little hair ready to cause a problem. This is definitely not a downdraft spray booth. And this garage has a little ways to go to be doing anything like this. That I could have set up a little better. You know, I did blow it off with that. I don't know. Alright, time for coat number 3. That's funny, first couple of coats with this, I could feel like a gurgling sound, and you could feel it inside the gun when it was spraying. And I couldn't remember if that used to spray that way or not, but all it was the tip. If you don't put it on quite tight enough, a little bit of air can squeak by there, causing that to happen. Forgot about that on those. Got the 3rd coat dry. I'm gonna tack it off again. I was going for like some kind of a bug skeleton landed there, and I didn't realize the cord on that thing rubbed right there, so I'm gonna smooth that out, although it doesn't really look like it dug in, it just made a mark. But this will be a good opportunity to show you guys how this sandpaper works, that I've had pretty good luck with. Now watch, it'll rip it right off. Yeah, it just kind of glides over the top. This is a used piece, so it's not working as good as a fresh one. Looks like a fresh area right about there. Just does a real light, fine job. Almost too fine for this. Now when you do a quick repair like this, with the waterborne, you just go back and dust over it light, dry it, dust over it light, dry it, put it on a little heavier, dry it, and then you're pretty much ready to continue. It actually dug in a little bit there. Just go slow. Yeah, any other paper I've used would just rip, it would bunch up on the paper and then just make big gouge marks in it. This pretty nice, pretty handy for this stuff. And it doesn't clog up too bad. Like any other paper I've ever tried, it just clogs right up. And you definitely can't use any kind of water on this because it's like putting lacquer thinner on a solvent base coat. And that's not bad. I'm going to dust that in a couple of times. Do it right now, actually. Okay, I just gave that a quick tack. If you go light enough, you can use the air right off the gun for a quick repair like this. Now, if this was a day that the humidity was 50 or below, I could just kind of hit this, walk away, and it would dry on its own pretty quick. That's actually pretty good. And that's a quick base coat repair with waterborne. Well, I have 4 to 5 coats. There is some visible trash in there, but pretty minor. I could sand it out, but that's about all the paint I have, the base coat I have. I went around with a flashlight and just to make sure I had coverage. I have coverage, and like I said, these sand scratches, they won't show up when I clear it. It's why it's the newer sand systems with an interface pad and a 600 on an interface pad on a fine DA with a finer pattern. It has just a more uniform scratch pattern, as opposed to sand scratches, you know, by hand. But with black, it's just not really a factor. And like I said, I could sand this minor dust out, but I'll just put it back on, put in the next coat, because this is the conditions I'm working in. And it's going to be in the clear coat too. There's nothing I can do about it. But it sands out and it buffs. And most times you can't even tell the difference. It's just a little more time doing it in a home setting like this than obviously when you have all the latest equipment. But it can be done, and I mean, on a humid day, this has taken a long time to get all these coats on, but with that really sped it up. I would have been a couple of hours per coat, I think, if I just walked away, if it dried at all on a humid day. But yeah, I like the fact that it's workable in here and you're not just getting blown out of the area with fumes. It's not that bad at all. So I think it's just about time to mix up some clear coat. And then when I put a coat of that down, I will be leaving the room for 20 minutes or so. Come in one more coat, and that's it. What I get is what I get. I know my dad would like to get this back on the car because it's in his backyard with covers over it and it's raining out, so he'd like to have this back on. Well, I cleaned my gun real good. At the shop I have a separate gun for clear coat and a separate one for base coat. Just lessens the chance of contaminants getting into your clear. This gun did pretty good. I like the way it laid down the waterborne. It's not designed for waterborne. The guns that aren't designed for it, they'll stain pretty quick with the water. But I just cleaned it out really good, blew it all out. Any residue in there that's still there should come out when I clean the clear coat out with solvent. But that was my solvent to clean the gun. It's just water. That's all it is. So yeah, it's made the working conditions in here tolerable, not having to smell the solvents. And the clear coat's a faster deal. I just put a couple quick coats on, and I don't have to stay with it and dry it. So I just leave the room when that's setting up. All right, I gotta make sure that's on good and tight. I'm gonna stay with the 1.3 tip. I used to really like the 1.5 with whatever Sickens product I was spraying back in the day when I was using this gun. But I'm going to try the 1.3. Hope it'll give me a little more control. I'd rather put this on a touch dry than have runs. And yeah, when I first started spraying the waterborne, it was Sickens, and their motto was thin to win, which is kind of what I did in here. I kept going thin coats. Doesn't just whatever does land in there will come out fairly easy if it's just a thin layer. And it seemed to work good for me. So I think I am about ready to mix my clear and get this thing done. And I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of buffing at some point to do. And here's my clear. I just got to mix these two together. It's already measured out. 4-to-1 mixture. This is the DC 3000, which is one of my faster setups. Perfect for this situation where it's kind of cool and I don't have the good airflow like I would in a downdraft booth. And I think I'll filter this too. Alright. So this is an early HVLP. It's definitely better than the old siphon feeds. It's a lot better transfer efficiency. I'm putting more on the panel than in the air, which is great for spraying in a home garage like this. These work better with more airflow than pressure, and I'm supposed to have a bigger opening on these ends and bigger hose, and obviously a compressor that can throw out more volume. But for what I'm doing, it'll work fine. And I think it's time to see how this clear lays down with the 1.3 tip and this gun, which I haven't used anything but a solder jet in years, so here we go. Now that's dust. That is a beautiful coat of dust right there. Non-skid finish. All day long, non-skid finish. Wow. This is not a downdraft booth. Woo! Got dust? Yep. No runs though. It's tacking up real nice. I'm about ready for the second coat. I hope I have enough. Looks like I should just make it. And then we were out of the garage for the day. This can hang out. There's nothing so big that I need to pull it out with tweezers or anything, although there is a little bug right there I should get out. That's not a happy bug right there at all. It's a very unhappy bug. But this stuff sands out. I can get this looking good. Well, I got my gun all broken down, got all these parts cleaned. This was the big thing with these guns. When you got your gloves on and the solvent, when you clean it and it's kind of slippery, if you drop this and it lands on that tip, this thing's done. It will never spray right again. It's a good idea to have rubber mats on the floor in case you do drop one. It's saved. Same with the solder jet tip, the same thing. But these were, you'd really screw these up because they got this funny little end with 4 little tiny holes that have to be perfect. But as long as that's okay and your seal's good, it's a pretty good little gun. I'm glad I went down to the 1.3 tip. It gave me the control I wanted, because I wasn't sure about this clear with it being at 60 degrees. That's kind of cold for a clear, but it's right at probably the minimum you'd want to spray this. You could go colder, but definitely cutting down on the tip. Let's see, what do these two next to each other look like? That's the 1.3, and this isn't going to focus anyways. This camera does not like shiny stuff. So that's the 1.3 and 1.5. Definitely a little difference though. It's a little bigger. That 1.5 on this gun is kind of a hose. That's what I had left for clear. Just made it. Couldn't have figured that out too much better. I thought I was going to actually run out, which would have been, well, I would have had a dry edge to buff. I got a little bit of black base left, but I'll be doing more with that car. And here's what we got. This is about what I expected out of my garage. I always get dust like that when I used to spray in here before. But it does sand out. I will get that out and we'll get it looking good. But it was definitely easier not trailing this around and not having it in the way at the shop, because it's just a little bulkier than I expected it to be. Clear's set up really nice. This is a nice fast clear. It's good for a situation like this. And yeah, that one bug, that probably won't come out that good, but that's in an area that's actually covered by the wing, the base too. So we'll get this sanded. And yeah, this was kind of to show you guys that it can be done at home. I just got a comment from FasterCat, which was talking about the same thing. These are the things you'll run into. This is probably best case scenario, at least unless you go Turbo Cobra when he painted his car, he went all out and just lined all his walls with plastic sheeting, and he got a pretty decent clean area. I got mine as clean as I was gonna for doing a part, and like I said, this will buff. I can get that out, and it's black. Hope you guys enjoyed this. It was definitely, I haven't sprayed anything in here in years, and this is pretty much why. So you get that, but I tell you, with the waterborne, it was a little better, because laying down solvent base coat, 2, 3, 4 coats, brutal. The smell and worrying about if the neighbors are going to smell it or not, just brutal. And that's just a fan I found at the dump years ago, and it's perfect for this. And that's the majority of what I captured. Not a lot of overspray. Not a lot of issues there. Well, that's it for the garage. Oh, this is my quick little repair. You can just sort of see it. That won't be a big issue. But these are things you run into at home when you have limited supplies and you can't just go into the mixing room and grab more. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that. I don't know what I'll be putting out because I got some stuff coming up over the next week or so. But I'll try and get this one out today. It's Sunday right now, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope it helps some of you guys thinking of doing it at home. It'll either convince you not to do it or maybe give it a try. It's your call. This garage is separate from the house. I don't think I'd be doing this if it was attached. If I was, I'd have the connecting doorway sealed up pretty good, I think. And that's it. Have a good one, guys.